Yes, guys. Hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone's doing very well on this Wednesday evening. As always, we're bringing you the content, daily content at the moment. So smash a thumbs up for the daily content. Smash a comment on the talking point of the video, which is all the links to do with transfers and Tottenham Hotspur and, of course, Ange's system and who is going to be the main recruits. Who are we linked with? All the best sources, all the best info. Tonight, I am joined alongside Andre of SpursRelated all the way from Canada and Jack Burford all the way from England. How are you doing, Andre?
I'm doing well. We're about to go over a few players. One of them I'm a little concerned about, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jacko Wacko, how are you doing?
I'm feeling well, mate. I'm feeling all right. Looking forward to talking Tottenham as always. Looking at a few players that could be joining us. I think there's going to be a bit of controversial takes as there always is here at SpursRelated. But yeah, it should be a good one.
We love a controversial take. We love a passionate rant. As I had to be reined back in yesterday, kind of. But anyway, I'm sure those of you that watched that know exactly which part I'm talking about. On Ndombele Dyer. So today we are talking, like I said, transfers and all the best sources, and what better man to do that than the newsman himself, Andre. Do you want to take us away, mate?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, why don't we just rip the Band-Aid off and talk about the guy that's been making the headlines recently, right? We're gonna talk about Harry Maguire. Okay. I don't know why we're linked with him right now. But Dan KP from the Evening Standard has reported that Tottenham are looking into signing him. He's 30 years old. He's got 2 years left on his contract. His stats are actually pretty good. He's got an 86% pass completion, 88% tackle success rate in this most recent season. Last season, 86%, so same pass completion, 74% tackle success rate. Could it be because he's played more games? There was more of a room to make mistakes? Could be. But the big thing is, at the moment, he's struggling for minutes under Erik ten Hag. For good reason? Maybe. Who knows? But 190K a week contract is the stumbling block that's sort of keeping this from sort of advancing. But you never know what could happen. We could do the classic initial loan. It's an option that could be explored. He has also played with Harry Kane in the England squad, so that could be a link that sort of helps. I've seen all these rumors that if Harry Maguire joins, maybe Harry Kane will be enticed to stay to play with someone he's played before, but who knows? But the big thing is...
I've got to interject. Sorry, Andre, you're doing so well. You think that Harry Maguire is going to keep Harry Kane at Tottenham? That is what you said, wasn't it?
Hey, that last part was just something that I've just seen rolling around in the Twitter sphere. But the link
if I saw Harry Maguire coming into my
link
football
is
club,
tier one.
I would not stay. I would be straight out of there on the first plane to Madrid or the first plane to whoever wants me. If Harry Maguire genuinely comes to Tottenham, Harry Kane's gone. That's it, for me. It's the opposite.
Right, hey, look, he's been doing big stuff for us already. He scored a goal for us. He pulled Luke Shaw away a few seasons ago so that Ndombele could score. He's already doing stuff for Tottenham.
Right. Well, I'm going to put my 2 pennies in here, and I'm going to tell you that Harry Maguire would not actually be the worst signing Tottenham could make. I'll tell you why, because no one saw this coming, because I haven't even discussed it to you before. But I generally think Harry Maguire is a solid football player that needs a manager that's going to put his arm around them and just be like, we know you're a good football player. Harry Maguire at one point was an £80 million centre half that every club in England wanted in their team. Yes, this is 4 or 5 years ago, but I'm going to give you a different take, and they're completely different players, don't get me wrong. But Spurs were linked with John Stones on a deadline day about 3-4 years ago, and everyone was like, why would we want John Stones? John Stones, who's not playing at Manchester City, he's past his best. No one wants him. Arsenal fans were linked with him. No one wanted him. And look how good he is for Manchester City now. Harry Maguire, when he plays for England, is honestly one of our best players, and nobody can tell me differently. That run to the final, Harry Maguire was exceptional, and he's not a bad football player. I'm not saying he's good enough to take Tottenham forward and bring us back into the Champions League, or even get us that trophy that we all need and deserve. But on a 30 million cut price deal or 25 million, I wouldn't be abject to paying it, because I generally think there's a football player in there. And Spurs are struggling for centre halves. We've got Tanganga, Sanchez, and Dyer, and I'm telling you right now, and even Longley, he's better than all of them, and that's just honest.
Could he play a high line though?
He might not be able to play a high line as well as other players, but Romero certainly can, and I think they could work well together. You've got Harry Maguire, that brute force at the back, good tackler, reads the game well, and you've got Romero, who comes in with the aggression and also is quite fast. I'm not saying it's the best decision. He's not the first player on the list I would choose, but he's an England international that has played in big matches. If we can get him at a cut price deal, I'm going to stick my neck on the line and say, you know what, I generally don't think it'd be the worst signing.
Well, James, what do you think? You seemed a little
speechless.
You seem a little speechless right now.
Do you know what? I'll try and be fair here. I see what Jack's saying. He is very good. Not very good. I think he's decent for England. And you're right, on that run to the Euro final, he was one of England's better players. I agree. I even think he was pretty good in the World Cup in December alongside Stones. Stones a little bit more of an advanced centre-back, likes to get on the ball, strive forward, play a pass. So similar to Romero. I'm not comparing Romero and Stones. I'm saying like he'd be the more aggressive centre-back. I see what you're saying there. For me, there's 3 reasons why I wouldn't take Harry Maguire. One is just because of his form's gone so downhill, and I get what you're saying. You think he needs a manager to put his arm around him, but we can't really be affording to take these kind of risks on players that already are going to be a premium because they're an English player. So they tick the homegrown quota and immediately are double the price than they should be. For example, say he's 30 million. I'm saying you can get someone on a level par, younger and better, if not, on par, for half the price from somewhere like Portugal, from somewhere like France. I think I understand what you're saying about Stones as well. Of course, John Stones is one of the world's best centre-backs now. I don't even think that's an insane thing to say, to be honest with you, in terms of what he does for Man City. But also, that price of £190,000 a week, yes, he'd probably take a pay cut. But even if we offered him £130,000 a week, I think it's an awful lot on the wage bill to put back on a player that's a bit of a risk, a bit like a Perisic, not in terms of the position, but in terms of being a risk where we know he's been good before, but he's getting on a bit. I know Harry Maguire's 30, and that's not, a really old age for a centre-back, but I just have my concerns over that, A, the wage, and B, his form. And C, I just think there's so many better players out there for what we could get.
But I think that's
you gotta understand, Harry Maguire. Look, he won a trophy. Don't you want that trophy-winning mentality, James?
But you can get winners in other teams, and I know what you're saying. Like, he's probably the most available winner in terms of he's won trophies. But what about, we look at Portugal, we look at France, and we look at Spain for those sort of centre-backs, Germany as well. We've got players that we're linked with from Bayer Leverkusen. I don't want to mention too much about who I would take because that's tomorrow's video. But I also want to say, like, for the same price, you could get someone younger with incredible potential that's already at the level of Maguire and past. I think you're paying a premium for a player. I think Man United will want to get rid of him. I know he's not under Erik Ten Hag's plans, but I don't think we should be, we're making Ange's project, put an arm around him. He was good 5 years ago at Leicester and when he came in at Man United, so let's put our arm around him. It doesn't work like that. Would someone be thinking that about Eric Dyer when he was fairly decent at centre-back for like a year? No, they wouldn't. I don't think anyone wants Eric Dyer in the world of football. So why would we suddenly go for Maguire just because he's available and it's the easy option? For me, absolutely not.
I get what you're saying, but I would also say if he was the main centre back that we're bringing in. But I feel like Tottenham right now with the centre backs we have to offer, we need to bring in 2, maybe even 3 centre halves. I know we're not playing 3 at the back anymore, but it's clear to see we need a massive rebuild just on the defence alone. So I feel like if we brought in someone like Harry Maguire with a young up and coming centre half which we'll talk about in tomorrow's video as well. We don't need to mention any names. I feel like that's a solid transfer window, and you've got a bit of experience there mixed with ability, and I don't think it'd be the worst option. I've already said why I would have him, because of I know there's a good player in there somewhere, and yes, it'd be harder with a high line, but for a cut price deal, and maybe if you can get him to take a wage cut, at the end of the day, there has been worse business at Tottenham Football Club.
Agree to disagree, guys. Interesting debate. Guys, let us know in the comments what you think about Harry Maguire. Would you take him at Spurs, or is it an absolute no like me? Andre, let's move on to the second player now.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, the next one that we've got coming up is James Maddison. He's been linked with the club as well. Obviously, Leicester, they got relegated. So that's sort of open for business in terms of selling these big players that could get Leicester money, because they're obviously going down to the Championship where not as much revenue is coming in, right? And that would be Mike McGrath from the Telegraph, who has been tier one source, who's been saying that Tottenham are interested in him. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He played 32 matches, scored 10 goals, 9 assists, 80% pass completion, and 34% shot accuracy in this season. So not bad stats. Personally, I've always rated him, and I think he would be a very good addition to Tottenham.
Yep, for me, just quickly, I would take James Maddison. I really like the player. I think he didn't have the greatest season at Leicester. Of course, Leicester in general didn't have a good season. Getting relegated, I think they're going to have to get rid of the likes of Barnes, Maddison, Tielemans, Pereira. I've heard Maddison is sort of Newcastle are the front runners for Maddison. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. But like you said, Andre, as per tier one sources, we are linked. Do I think it'd be a great appointment under Ange? Absolutely. The style of play he plays in this 4-3-3 sort of fluid formation that, you know, transcends into a more advanced role in midfield with a creative role and the more, you know, box-to-box player. I think he'd fit the creative role absolutely fantastically. I think he'd run with the ball, he'd get freedom, he'd go and support Kane, hopefully, and the wingers, and feed balls wide, put it into Harry Kane. It's just, I think he's a great all-round player. He's got an unbelievable free kick on him as well. Great long shots. For me, this guy is a player which was playing in a team which was just completely shot for confidence, completely, I wouldn't even say shot for quality, because they had some really good players in that Leicester team, but he really did struggle last season. And I think I'd go with what Jack just said about he needs an arm around him. I think we know James Maddison's a top player, got called up for the World Cup. I think he was unlucky to not get more minutes in the World Cup. For me, 100%, I would really, really like to see this happen.
Well, another thing, actually, you mentioned the premium for Maguire. Do you think that'll affect Maddison as well?
I don't, because Leicester have to sell players. They've gone down. These players will be demanding an exit. They don't want to play in the Championship. I think the only player that's a high caliber that would probably stay at Leicester is probably Jamie Vardy, because I think he'll feel sort of that obligation to get them back up, being there so many years. But without, you know, going into too much detail on that, I think James Maddison is probably available for 30 to 40 million.
Yeah, I would agree. I think a player of James Maddison's quality and his CV, what he's delivered already, especially in big games, is in the FA Cup finals, played in Europa League. He's a fantastic player. Comes with experience, nuts for goal. Football specialist, very creative. Like he says all the time on Sky Sports, he's a football man, a guy that studies his game, watches his games back, always looking to improve. Be a fantastic addition. The only problem is we don't have European football to offer him. So are there going to be more lucrative offers on the table at other clubs? Potentially, but it's a no-brainer. James Maddison is a fantastic footballer, a guy with England experience. He'd be a great addition, and certainly someone I'd love to see in the Tottenham shirt.
So actually, Jack, what do you think Tottenham could offer James Maddison to entice him to come to Tottenham if other UCL or European, like, you know, other teams have that European football to offer? What could we offer them instead?
We offer a lot. Tottenham are still a very big club that offer. We're talking Tottenham have Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, World Cup winner Christian Romero, Basuma Bentancur. We've got now a manager that wants to play free-flowing attacking football, you've got the best stadium in the world alongside training facilities, it's still a big option. People are not going to turn down Chelsea. They finished 11th or I think 10th this year, which for Chelsea standards is awful, but they've managed to attract Mauricio Pochettino. Looks like they could be signing Moise Caicedo. They've got some fantastic players they're going to still be able to bring in. Tottenham offer just as much as that, in my opinion. Maybe not the history, maybe not the Champions League that they've won, but realistically, we've got a lot to offer. So James Maddison should not be turning his nose down at Tottenham. Maybe if we can't offer him a guaranteed starting spot, then I understand. But realistically, Tottenham are still a big club.
Yeah, I would think if you're going to bring him in, it would be ridiculous not to basically say you're going to be in the central part of our team, to be honest.
Because I'd say there was reservations about bringing him in before because we didn't really play that system where Maddison could thrive. We more played a 5 at the back and then we relied on Kulusevski for creativity. But in this new system that we're expected to play in a 4-3-3, you've got 2 high-pressing attacking midfielders that are expected to get goals like we've seen at Celtic. So Maddison looks like it's almost too good to be true. I don't see why we would not be spending a good amount of money on this guy. It's not 30 to 40 million for a creative midfielder. You're paying 60, 70 million pounds these days. So for me, it's a no-brainer.
Yep. No, good points all round. Andre, final player of the video.
Yeah, so the next player that we've been linked in for a good amount of time, ever since Hugo sort of started talking about how he wants to head out. He's got 1 year left on his contract, but I think it's time at Tottenham. He thinks that's over. So we've been linked with David Raya. From Brentford, he's played decently.
No, he's unbelievable, by the way.
Well, personally, to me, I was about to say, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert in how he plays or anything like that, but the stats do show good things. He's kept 12 clean sheets this season from 38 matches in the Premier League, and he's won 15 games. So he's got 1 year left on his contract, 27 years old. Fabrizio Romano was the one who first linked us with Tottenham. David Raya with Tottenham. So, I would say that this would be a really, really good addition. And it's unfortunate that we have to sort of do it on a season where Lloris is heading out. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this guy could be the guy to sort of take us places?
100%. I mean, I'll let Jack go first on this one. But for me, he's a very, very good goalkeeper. I don't think he'd come at a massive price. I think he's already made it quite clear to Brentford that he wants to move on. I think Tottenham is, well, arguably not in the table, but it's a bigger challenge for Raya. With us pushing for European places again next season, hopefully, I think he'll get better wage at Tottenham for sure. And I think, the only thing that would maybe be in his mind doubting is the lack of European football next season. Maybe his heart's desired on that. Maybe some other club comes in for him that needs a goalkeeper as well. But looking at the top 6, pretty much every team has a decent goalkeeper other than us in terms of the traditional top 6. So, you look at Man City, Edison, you look at Liverpool, Alisson, you look at Chelsea. They've got Mendy. You look at Newcastle, Nick Pope, fantastic. And you look at Man United, De Gea, potentially. Actually, De Gea is a debatable one. I mean, a lot of Man United fans want him gone, especially after that final as well. He's really kind of come off the ropes a bit this season. But for me, we're the one that needs the keeper the most. And David Raya is fantastic. Every time I watch him, he makes some incredible saves. He's much better with his feet and distribution than Hugo Lloris, obviously, even Forster. For me, I don't think it would be a massive, massive fee, and I think we should get him in.
Yeah, totally echo all your thoughts. You took the words out of my mouth. I think he's completely different to Lloris. Well, no, arguably, I'd say they're both fantastic shot stoppers, but the distribution is on another level. I've watched Brentford a lot this season, and he is pivotal, crucial to the way they play. I think he's brilliant. I really do. And I think if we can bring a player of this caliber when we're finishing 8th in the league, it'd be tremendous, because we're not going to get many opportunities to sign this guy, because Manchester United are going to be lurking around. Chelsea, in my opinion, they're probably going to look to replace Mendy or Kepa, because Kepa's been playing more, mainly due to better distribution. So if we can sign Raya, I think it would be one of the signings of the summer. I certainly do.
Yeah, 100%. Andre, I'm guessing you think the same, mate?
Well, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on David Raya, but I trust you guys when it comes to this. I just mainly look at the news and see who's being linked to us. And these were the top 3 most linked players for Tottenham. And, by all means, I feel like those positions are priorities, right? An attacking midfielder, a center back, and a goalkeeper. Who knows what might happen? The summer window hasn't even opened yet. But I think 2 of these 3 I would bring in.
100%. I was about to say the same. I'm sure more links come in the next couple of weeks, especially when Ange actually takes over Spurs from the end of June. So, yeah, I expect a lot more links, a lot more players linked to join the club and roll it on. More content for us at Spurs Related. If you did enjoy this video, smash a thumbs up on it. Smash a subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I saw a stat on our analytics the other day, and like 60s or 70% of you guys are not subscribed. So hit the subscribe. It's free. It helps us out massively. We appreciate all your support. Comment below who you want out of these 3 players, and if you are also keen for other players linked. And yeah, a video tomorrow as well, guys. We're going to be giving our opinions on which signings we would like in an ideal, realistic world. Andre, Jack, thank you so much for joining me. And as always, guys, you know the score. Come on, you Spurs!